The Galactic Council had warned Captain Mira Solon that raising Korgothi cubs was impossible for a human. They were apex predators from a death world, their instincts honed by millennia of brutal survival. No soft-skinned biped could command their respect, let alone their obedience. Mira had smiled politely and taken custody of the orphaned litter anyway. That was 3 standard years ago. Now, as her boots crunched across the frozen wasteland of Outpost Theta 9, 6 fully grown Korgothi warriors moved in her shadow. Each stood nearly 3 meters tall, their obsidian fur rippling over corded muscle, fangs like curved daggers glinting in the pale light of the distant sun. To any observer, they looked like death incarnate. To Mira, they were her pack. Contact ahead. Her tactical display flickered. Hostile signatures. 12 raiders armed with plasma rifles. They've taken the supply depot. The mission was supposed to be simple: retrieve critical medical supplies for the colony on Epsilon Prime. But the Void Reavers had other plans. The notorious pirate gang had been terrorizing the Outer Rim for months, and now they stood between Mira and medicine that would save thousands of lives. Ren, the largest of her cubs, moved closer. His golden eyes fixed on the depot ahead, ears flat against his skull. The others tensed, reading his body language. Violence was brewing in the air like an approaching storm. "Ren," Mira said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. The massive Korgothi's head snapped toward her, complete attention locked on his captain. The others froze mid-step. "Stay here." 2 words, spoken with the same gentle tone she might use to discuss the weather. No shouting, no dominance display, just a quiet request that somehow carried the weight of an imperial decree. The effect was instantaneous. The cubs didn't sit. They didn't whimper or question. They formed a defensive perimeter around Mira's position with the precision of a special forces unit. Ren took point, his body low, scanning the horizon. 2 cubs flanked the position, their enhanced hearing tuned to detect any approaching threat. The remaining 3 created overlapping fields of fire, positioning themselves to cover every angle of approach. It wasn't obedience. It was something deeper, something the Council's xenobiologists couldn't quantify in their reports. Lieutenant Vexer, the Thenary observer assigned to monitor Mira's experiment, watched through his shuttle's viewport with his jaw hanging open. His 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of deep confusion among his species. "Impossible," he muttered into his comm. She gave no command protocol, no dominance assertion, no threat display. She just whispered. His supervisor's voice crackled back. "What's their response?" "They've formed a military-grade defensive formation. Perfect spacing, total coverage. They're waiting for her signal." Vexor's tentacles twitched nervously. "Sir, I've studied Korgothi behavior for 15 years. This shouldn't be possible. Their instinct is to charge, to overwhelm, to dominate through superior violence. They don't do subtle. They don't do defensive. And yet they're holding position like trained soldiers awaiting orders from their commanding officer." Inside the perimeter, Mira checked her equipment. 1 pulse pistol, half-charged. A tactical knife, her standard-issue armor. Lightweight but insufficient against plasma fire. By any logical assessment, she was outgunned, outnumbered, and out of options. She smiled. Humans, the galaxy had learned, didn't always respect logic. She moved forward with calculated confidence, her cub's eyes tracking her every step. Ren's growl rumbled low in his chest, not a challenge to her, but a question. "Are you sure?" Mira reached out without looking and placed her hand on his massive head. The gesture lasted less than a second, but Ren's entire posture shifted. The tension bled from his muscles. His ears lifted slightly. In the complex social language of the Korgothi, Mira had just said, "Trust me, I've got this." Ren settled back on his haunches, content to wait. "What is she doing?" Vexer whispered, leaning closer to his view screen. Mira walked openly toward the depot, her hands visible, weapon holstered. The Void Reaver spotted her immediately. 12 rifles swung in her direction. 1 human. Their leader laughed, his voice amplified by his helmet speakers. "The Council sends 1 tiny human to face us? This is an insult." "I'm not here to face you," Mira called back, still walking. "I'm here to give you a choice." "A choice?" The leader's laughter grew louder. "You're in no position to offer anything, human." Mira stopped 20 meters from their position. "Close enough to talk? Close enough to die if they fired." "The choice is simple," she said. her voice carrying that same gentle certainty that made Ren and his siblings into warriors. You can leave now with your lives and your ship. Or you can stay and learn why the Korgothi call me soft voice sharp teeth. The raiders looked at each other. One of them snorted. You're unarmed, alone, what are you going to do?
Talk us to death?
Mira tilted her head slightly. I'm not alone, she didn't whistle. Didn't shout. She simply raised one hand and made a small gesture, a subtle turn of her wrist that meant nothing to the raiders. It meant everything to her cubs. 6 shapes exploded from their positions with terrifying speed. The raiders had exactly 2.3 seconds to realize their mistake. Korgothi moved like shadows made of violence, covering the distance faster than the pirates could track. Ren hit the leader with the force of a freight train, disarming him without severing any limbs. A remarkable show of restraint for a species known for tearing enemies apart. The others followed his lead. Weapons were scattered. Raiders were pinned. Not a single drop of blood was spilled. The entire engagement lasted 11 seconds. Mira walked through the chaos, picking up the medical supplies. Her cubs maintained their holds, waiting for her next instruction. She paused beside the raider leader, now face down in the frozen dirt with Ren's paw on his back. You're right about one thing, Mira said softly. I am just a human. But these, she gestured to her cubs. They're family. And I taught them something their instincts never could. That the strongest predator isn't the one who strikes first. It's the one who knows when to hold back. She looked at Ren, whose golden eyes gleamed with pride. Good boy. Release. The raiders scrambled to their ship without their weapons or their dignity. Vexer, watching from orbit, finally found his voice. Control, I need to amend my report. Captain Solon hasn't trained the Korgothi. She's done something we didn't think possible. She's taught predators to think like protectors, hunters to act like guardians, and she did it by whispering when everyone else was shouting. As Mira's shuttle lifted off with the supplies secured, Ren pressed against her side. She scratched behind his ear, and the massive warrior rumbled with contentment. The galaxy still didn't understand how a human had done the impossible, but Mira knew the secret. It wasn't about dominance or control. It was about something humans had always understood better than any other species. It was about trust and love, and the quiet certainty that when you whispered to those who chose to listen, you didn't need to shout to move mountains, or in this case, to command 6 tons of muscle and fangs with 2 simple words: stay here.